Hip car. This is one of the most basic fundamental movements we're going to do throughout this entire program. I'm going to demonstrate it first, and then I'm going to go into the common mishaps of doing it later in this video. So if you just needed a refresher to how to do it, just watch the first 20-30 seconds. And after that, I'm going to go into all the different little intricacies of it. So first and foremost, I'm taking my opposite hand on my left lower back, making sure lower back doesn't move. I'm bringing my foot up and across. Knee gets as high as I can. Foot comes across the body as high as I can. Knee goes up and out as high as possible. I'm going to slowly try to rotate my heel up towards the ceiling, trying to keep as much space between my knees as possible. Knee goes back as far as it can, and the knee comes back to where I started right here. I then go back the opposite direction. I go back a little bit, out a little bit, rotating the heel forward this time. Knee comes up to the armpit, heel comes over, slowly going down. You'll see it's basically the opposite direction that I just went, doing the same exact movements, just in the opposite direction. Okay. Big mishaps here. Now, number one, you have to max out range, right? We can't just do a little mini, car here and think that's enough, unless that's as far as you can. Okay. We have to be sure that we're going to vary and range each and every time, which means for me, getting to here is not going to be enough. I need to get all the way up to my max effort hip flexion with that rotation of the hip, foot going across the body. When I move, I have to be sure it's only from one joint. So I can't be here going up, forward, twisting around, all this other stuff. We have to only move one joint at a time. So one of the more common compensations is when I come up here, does your back knee bend? Okay. Do I lean back at all? Do I lean forward at all? Do I really not get up as high as I should? Okay. When I go out, am I twisting this other hip? Is my spine moving? Is my belly button moving? So when I come out here, belly button shouldn't move at all. Okay. When I rotate here, do I dump my pelvis over? Okay. So we try to prevent that as much as possible. So I know it's tough here, but as I'm rotating, I'm trying not to move the pelvis at all and trying to keep that completely fixed. When I go back here, do I lean forward at all? All these things are different compensations of your body trying to help you out to get more range. We don't want that. We want just this hip moving with no pain whatsoever. That's a big key factor here as well. No pain when we're doing these movements. I've already went over two there. Third one is, as I'm going throughout the motion, am I using parts of my body that aren't involved in the movement, or am I moving throughout it as well? So for example, if I'm going through this whole motion, is my spine just going forward and backward, forward and backward? I don't want that to happen. Obviously, it's partly a compensation, but it's also just not being in a fixed position. Before I start my car, I want to take a big deep breath, get tight, and not move the entire way throughout. So that prevents some compensations. And then fourth, a big reason here too, is I want to go slow. So we're not trying to go fast unless for whatever reason the sheet specifically says to go fast. I want you to go slow and controlled so you can gain access and control over every millimeter of range, and I'm not rushing this as best as I can. And as I'm doing it, let's say I'm doing it pre-workout, pre-lift, I want some high intensity here. I want you squeezing this hip. I want you pushing out and maximizing that circle as best you can. If you're doing it just as a morning routine type situation, well, then you can be a little more low level with it. You don't have to be squeezing really hard when you just woke up. You do want to get to your end range, but you just want to be a little more controlled about it in either scenario, so that hip knows what's going on, it knows how to function all ranges of motion, and it improves your capacity to produce force in every single position that hip can get into.